Hi, welcome back to Cooking with Shaun. That's me. Sorry. Today we're going to be cooking lasagna. We're going to start off, first of all, since it's going to take a while and I'm going to have to do cuts and whatnot, we're going to be making the tomato sauce. I'm going to go over the ingredients list. Pound of ground beef, a large onion, which I've kind of started chopping and then realized I should probably do it on camera, even though everyone's seen how to chop. Anyways, digressing. Green pepper, and we're gonna 2.5 tablespoons of minced garlic. I have jarred because I don't know, we don't have any right now, and I really didn't want to get any. 1/4 cup Italian seasoning. 1/4 cup of basil, and salt and pepper to taste, which, garlic pepper, again, to taste, shredded Parmesan, and you're going to need about 1/4 cup, and I'll be getting back to this part because we got to make this, and it's got to simmer for a while, and yeah. So, 1/4 cup of shredded Parmesan cheese. You can shred your own if you want. And then I may be omitting the 1/4 cup of red wine. So I'm gonna rearrange the camera a bit. Probably focus it down so you can see me chopping. Sharp, don't play with these are not toys. So, I'll be back. Alright, we're back. So now, I'm going to cut this up and make it all nice and diced. Now, normally, you know, the whole onion is together, but I didn't like the way the center looked, the other half of this, so I just went ahead and got rid of that. So we're just gonna go ahead and start cutting. So, usually, cut into strips. You know, there's many ways, as always. So my philosophy is, you know, do it however you know and feel comfortable with doing it, and just be careful and remember these are not toys. Like I said before, you know, it's sharp. I've cut myself with this, in fact, knife. I was cleaning it and it sponge slipped, but respect your tools and all will be good. No trips to the emergency room to get stitches. It's not fun, especially when you're in Germany and the doctors and nurses don't speak English. Alright, onions are nice and chopped. They can be set to the side. Alright, onions were getting a little tearful. So now we're going to go ahead and I've already gone ahead and cleaned it out, washed it, made it all nice and good. And we're going to go ahead and same thing with the onion, just go ahead and cut it up. And then I'll probably rearrange the camera to the oven or stovetop, and we'll go from there. So, again, just cut it. I usually cut it up into strips, and then chop up those strips to make smaller pieces. Alright, and I'll go ahead, remove the camera, wash my hands, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. We're going to go ahead and start browning the beef. We got this turned on, starting to warm up, and I'm just going to go ahead and break it up some. Now once you brown the meat, the next step is going to be to add the onions and green peppers. and you're basically going to want to cook it until the onions are caramelized. And you're also going to be adding in some seasonings. But before you can do all that, you gotta brown the beef. As usual, I am using 93% lean beef, ground beef, just because, like I've stated before, it tastes better. You may like the fattier content of the other, but we prefer this. It's also better for you. So, I'm gonna let this go ahead and warm up, because I literally just turned on the stovetop. So we're gonna let this cook for a bit, and we'll be right back once I go to add in some seasonings and there's actually more stuff going on, because right now it's just like watching paint dry. It's kind of boring. Welcome back. Stream close-up. So next, we're going to add the onions. Make sure it's all nice and in there. The bell peppers. That oyster. Like I said, we're going to be basically cooking them for a little bit. I'm trying to heat a little bit. And we basically want the onions to caramelize. Start to come a little translucent. Alright. Next we'll add the garlic. You kind of want to add what you want. You know, if you really don't like a whole lot of garlic, don't add a whole lot of garlic. It's kind of what you want. Let's do about a tablespoon and a half. Get you nice and stirred in. And since all the vegetables were cold, it's cooled everything down some. So it's going to take a little bit for it to get back up to the heat that you just had it at. So just, you know, you don't have to stir a whole lot at the beginning, but just watch it. You don't want to start burning it and then you'll ruin everything, because the whole sauce will have a nice burnt taste to it. So we'll go ahead and let this cook down a little bit, and I'll be right back. And welcome back again. So we've let it cook for a little bit. It's probably only been like 1 or 2 minutes. So I just wanted to double check on the recipe and see exactly what needs to be done next. So what we're going to add next is the 4th cup of Italian seasoning. This is already smelling delicious. And then the 4th cup of basil. Whew, that's very aromatic and good. And those dried herbs will soak up a lot of the excess moisture, which isn't a big deal, but oh, it smells so good. Can you smell it? I know. No smell-o-vision. So I'm just going to let this cook down a little bit. Onions still need a bit to go before they're nice and good. But adding all the stuff, you know, everything will all start melding together and improving the taste of the lovely tomato sauce that we'll be using for our lasagna. So, I will be back when the onions are nice and caramelized. And yeah. Alright, welcome back. So, the next step in our crusade to make the tomato sauce is to add the tomatoes. Now we got several big cans. These are 28-ounce cans. And first we're going to put in the crushed. Doesn't really matter what order, just all 3 cans have to go in. And we got our diced. And by the way, I'm sure you've noticed I've moved from this pan to this pan. Or pot. It's not really a pan. That was a sauce. Alright. So now we got this. Now we're going to start stirring. Because stirring is good. And get this all nice and incorporated. I'm trying to do this from behind the camera. Give everyone a little bit better view. It's super awkward. So I'm like having to like hug the camera and look through the viewfinder to see what the heck I'm doing. So, oh, this so smells so good. Words I know how to speak most of the time. All right, so now our favorite thing in the world. Wait. So, let me just double check. After we add it all, let simmer for at least an hour. You usually want to do this for a couple hours because it really gets all the flavors to all meld together and taste good. So, with that being said, I'm going to do some cleanup and let's see, the time is, if I can find my phone, time is 2:42, so I'll be back in a couple hours. And we'll start making the rest of it, which is boiling noodles and getting all the mozzarella cheese and the ricotta cheese and the cottage cheese and everything else. But we're going to make it nice and ready for the lasagna. So I will see you in a little bit. Alright, welcome back. It's been several hours. It is now 4:22. The sauce is all nice and simmered, and it's reduced a bit, which is fine. So I went ahead and added the Parmesan cheese. Oh, that's that. Sorry, I heard a random noise and water leaking somewhere, but it's in fact our dishwasher draining. So, the Parmesan has already been added. Which I was recording and messed up, and yeah. So I've tasted it. It tastes pretty good, but I'm going to add a little bit of the garlic pepper, and also not much, but just a bit of salt and pepper. So probably about a half teaspoon, not much. Because just with everything in there, you know, it had good flavor and really didn't need a whole lot more salt or pepper. What I'll do next is probably transfer this over to something else because I'm going to require it to cook the lasagna noodles, because these are going to have to get cooked. Otherwise, you know, it's kind of hard to have lasagna unless you want to use the kind that bake in the oven. I've had those before. I really don't like the texture of them. They just don't taste right. And what's 10 minutes boiling some water with them in it? I mean, it's easy. So anyways, oh, the other thing it requires, I said I don't know if I was going to add it or not. I am going to add it because it does give it a different taste, is some red wine. This is actually German Rotwein. It's a Merlot, or Merlot, however you want to say it. I'm not a wine connoisseur, but it's a dry wine. So I'm going to go ahead and add a 1/4 cup. The heat and everything will go ahead and boil out any alcohol. So really don't have to worry about that, but it keeps the flavor, and that's what you want. So, get this good stir. And what I'm gonna do is go ahead and cut, and then I'm gonna get everything prepared or pulled out and ready for making lasagna, as well as transfer this over to, well, I'm gonna let this simmer you gotta let it simmer for about 20 minutes. Everything's 20 minutes. So yeah, I'm gonna let this simmer. It's probably how long it's gonna take to get everything together and prepped and all that fun stuff. Quick side note, the lighting, I'm sure you can tell, has changed a little bit. Yes, it is 4 o'clock, but in probably another half hour, it's gonna be nice and dark out. Because it gets dark quick over here. Just like, I think when we got here in May, it wasn't, by probably about June-ish, it wasn't getting dark out till about 11:30, something like that. It was stupidly late that the light was still out. And it's like, seriously, it's almost midnight. What the heck's going on? Anyways, I'm digressing and shutting up and quit rambling. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do the prep stuff, and I'll be back. All right, now we're to the half of the video where I focus on cooking the lasagna. We have lasagna noodles, 1 package. It calls for tomato sauce, which we're making, that's good. 32 ounces of cottage cheese, 16 ounces of ricotta, this is 32, so I'm gonna use half of it. 1 egg. Salt and pepper, obviously to taste. It says 4 teaspoons of each. About 2 pounds of mozzarella. You'll definitely use 1 pound, but it's always good to have extra if you want it more cheesy or you just don't have enough. Alright, so you're going to start off by cooking the noodles, which I said I was going to actually move everything to a different container. What I instead did was just find another pot. So I got that. The water, I added some salt just to help with the stickiness of the pasta. That's getting ready to boil. This is on the back burner, staying warm. Really not that big of a deal, but I mean, you don't want it cold because then it'll screw with your cooking times and no one wants that. So what I'm gonna do is, as usual, cut, and then I'm gonna prep, get a bowl out because we're gonna have to mix the fillings. And then I'm gonna go ahead, actually I can probably just do that right now. I'm gonna go ahead and get the noodles in the water and get these nice and cooking. And then, lovely view of my backside. Sorry. So yeah, I'm gonna cut, and then we'll be back. I'll fix that. I think I gotta add a little bit more water to that, but yeah, the magic of filming. Alright, welcome back. I prepped up everything a little bit. The noodles are still boiling. So, since I'm gonna need about half of this, I went ahead and got a scale. Measures in ounces. Just turn it on. And what I'm gonna do is measure out the 32 ounces. So first of all, we're going to put this on, and then I'm going to tare it, T-A-R-E, so it equals out the scale. So let's start putting in the ricotta. Let's see, it's 9 ounces. I'd say 16. Yep. So we're at 13. It's a little bit over. That's fine. I doubt no one's really going to complain that there's a whole bunch of ricotta cheese in there, because it's good. So, don't need that. We're going to go ahead and put this in there. Should be easy to clean up. And need a bigger bowl. We got our cottage cheese. There's just do this. Every time, it's like, I need a bigger bowl. That's half the cottage cheese. Granted, yes, I did use a little bit more ricotta, but I have enough room. But yeah, just start folding in the cottage cheese into the ricotta cheese, all nice and ooey gooey. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get this. I'd probably recommend doing it in a bigger bowl, but no me. Also, I want to use the glass bowls. This is the biggest glass bowl we have, so whatever. Just be careful when mixing. Again, fold in, get all nice and incorporated, and it's like cheesy cottage cheese, ricotta cheese goodness. Now, to keep all this together, when you cook it, a good binder, obviously what we're going to be using, is an egg. So, it says combine cottage cheese, ricotta cheese, egg, salt, and pepper. Now, it also calls for a 1/3 cup of fresh minced parsley. We don't have parsley. But, I'm thinking, oh, yeah, no, we don't have parsley. I forgot we had some at one point, but we don't anymore. Because we used it. But it's not going to make a terrible difference. Yes, I apologize for not going exactly by the directions. Come on, noodles. Water still isn't boiling, but I'm trying to rush it. That's what you get for recording. So again, fold in the egg. Now what the egg will do is when it cooks, it'll hold the cheese mixture together. And that's what you want. I mean, yeah, have an egg allergy, which I'm actually don't have an egg allergy. I'm just sensitive towards it. It really messes with my stomach. Which, as I get older, into my 30s, it's just kind of getting worse. But stuff like this doesn't bother me. It's more when I eat eggs. But enough about me. I'm just babbling because this isn't very fun watching me stir the cauldron. So, we got this all nice and mixed up. I'm gonna get some salt and pepper. Now it says about a 4 teaspoon TSP. It's about enough. A bit more. And then got some salt. Do the same. Now, I didn't add a whole lot of salt to the sauce mixture because I knew I'd be adding more here. And like I've said before, always play it on the safe side. Unless, of course, you're making this for you or whoever else is eating it has a similar salt taste as you. But it's always safe, just play it on the safe side. Always good to always play it on the safe side. I can speak words and stuff. So, this is going to sit. I'll actually probably put it in the fridge for a bit because it's going to take me a little bit to get the noodles cooked. Once the noodles are cooked, I'll come back and we'll start the whole fun layer of laying down sauce, noodle, cheese, mozzarella cheese, all that fun stuff. But for now, I need the noodles to cook. Cook. Faster. Alright, I'm cutting. See you in a bit. And welcome back. So, I've prepped the lasagna making prep thingy. I'm so good with words. So I got my noodles, which I've drained the majority of the water out just to keep them still moist so they don't start sticking together. Yes, I put salt in, but they're gonna stick together, and I'd rather have it to where you know, they have some sort of medium to keep from being sticky. Digressing. So I got my sauce right here. I got the ricotta cheese, cottage cheese, egg, salt, whatever mixture, and I have mozzarella cheese, shredded. So, to start off, the lovely mixture, or thingy, I'm so good with words right now. So you're gonna spoon on a very light layer of sauce. This is just to keep it, you know, everything off the bottom. That because your first layer is going to be noodles. And you don't want noodles sticking to the pan, and that's pretty much what this is going to do, is create a barrier for your noodles so they don't touch. Alright, next what we're going to do is start layering on the noodles. I'm going to burn myself, I know it. Get over here. And you just do it lengthwise. Your next one. Because these are hot. Now see, this is where, yes, the bacon oven lasagna noodles would probably be better to make this process a little bit easier, less prep. But like I said, I prefer the taste of freshly cooked lasagna noodles. That's not. Versus, I totally stuck together. Versus the bake in the oven. I mean, they're a little bit thicker and they just taste more authentic. And obviously, for good reason. All right. What we're gonna do is, we got the thin layer of spaghetti sauce, or thin layer of tomato sauce, noodles, and we're just gonna start spooning on the lovely ricotta cheese, cottage cheese mixture. You just directly over the noodles. Not too much, not too little. You know, the Goldilocks zone. Fun times. Trying to concentrate. It's very hard work spooning cheese mixture on the noodles. Okay, so you get it all nice and coat of this. Next, we're going to ladle in some sauce. Now this layer, unlike the first layer, doesn't have to be that thin layer. I mean, you don't want it too thick, but at the same time you want it to, you know, you're making layers. It's lasagna. Come on now. Basically, you don't want to see the cheese layer underneath. So I guess a good reference. But at the same time, you don't want it too thick, because then you're just going to end up with a layer of sauce and a layer of noodle, and you know, and the most of it's going to be sauce. You don't want that. You want some cheesy goodness. So I got the next layer on. Instead of using this mixture of cottage cheese and whatnot, we are going to sprinkle a nice layer of mozzarella cheese. Not too thick, just, you know, you just want some cheese in there. Otherwise it's going to be a cheesy, extra cheesy thing, which isn't bad, but so again, just repeat the process. Get some more sauce on there. Now, what you're gonna do is now go back, instead of mozzarella, we're gonna do this. Like I said, just keep doing this. You'll probably end up 9 times out of 10 with a bunch left over of the ricotta cheese. That's why what we usually do, what I've been known to do, is after making your main dish, you make a second separate smaller dish, or it could even be same size, but it's not going to have the same amount as the original, which is what this is. If that makes any sense. Thinking over in my head, it really doesn't. Which I kind of, whatever. Alright. I think for this one, just so I don't bubble over all over the place, this there. I think this is going to be the last layer. Last sauce layer, I should say. So, now, do a generous layer of mozzarella. I guess technically I probably should put another layer of noodles, but it is what it is. Oh, what I also forgot to mention was while the noodles are almost done, you want to go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Celsius, it's like 175, I think. I should know, I do this enough. Alright, so once everything's ready to go in the oven, what you want to do is get some tin foil, aluminum foil, whatever. And you want to cover it, but you don't want it touching. You want a loose cover, and you want it to kind of tent. So you kind of grab it and kind of almost fold it. So you got a nice ridge going on. And then you just kind of crinkle it over. That way it keeps kind of like a dome, not convex. Like I said, not tightly wrapped, just, you know, you want to keep the direct heat off of it. So what I'm going to do next, put it in the oven. Center of the oven, preheated oven. Without burning yourself. Oh, so close. Alright. Alright. Once it's in the oven, you're going to let it sit covered for about 45 minutes. Keep in mind, the majority of it's cooked. The only thing that really needs to be cooked is that egg that's in the ricotta cheese and cottage cheese mixture. So it's got to bind together. Once that's cooked for the 45 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, if I haven't said that already, you go ahead and remove the tin foil, which of course I'll come back for that and show you me doing it. And then you pop it back in the oven, probably for another 5-10 minutes. Basically what you want is the cheese to be nice and bubbly and in some areas start to brown. Not too much, otherwise you're going to end up with burnt mozzarella cheese and it's not going to be fun. So I'm going to cut, and when I come back, I'll be pulling it out of the oven to uncover it, and then we're going to pop it back in, and we should be good. Just to kind of prove, the time is 5:21, and it looks lighter than it actually is. The sky looks all purpley and all that, but it's dark out. Yeah. I wasn't kidding, it gets dark pretty quick. So, but yeah, okay, be right back. And welcome back. It's been a good 45 minutes. And I'll go ahead and pull the lasagna out of the oven. tinfoil. A little bit touched. And it looks nice and good. I'm gonna put it back in. Like I said, just kind of get the mozzarella cheese nice and bubbly on top, a little browned, and then we'll be good. I will be right back when it's set in there for a little bit. Alright, it's been about 10-15 minutes. The cheese is all nice and bubbly and starting to brown around the edges. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out. Very gently. Alright. Just like with everything coming out of the oven, make sure it sits for a little bit, cools off before you eat it. Unless you like scorching your mouth. But other than that, hope you enjoy.